Hey, we're down here at the Combat Academy in Ellerslie, and I've interrupted Dan the Hangman Hook, who's preparing for his big fight night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Still on.
In December. Dan, we've interrupted you because a massive fight coming up, McGregor against Khabib. Your weight class, so you'll definitely have an interest in this. I'm just interested how this fight's going to go. Are you excited for the fight?
Yeah, well, of course, it's my weight division. I'm sitting currently ranked number 14 in the division, so yeah, I've got my eyes on it. Obviously the title is what I'm after, the title is what I'm chasing, so I have very close eyes on this fight and the outcome of this fight.
So let's have a look at the two of them. What's the keys to victory in this fight for both of them, do you think? Maybe start with McGregor.
Yeah, so well, they both have the key to victory, and they both do their best work when they have their opponent against the cage. So when Khabib backs his opponent up towards the cage and he gets him behind this black line, he swarms with punches and he shoots underneath and he locks up a body lock. So if you see McGregor pressed against the cage and Khabib locks his hands together, it's going to be a very long night for Conor McGregor if Khabib can make that happen. Similarly for McGregor, he does his best work striking. Once he backs his opponent up behind this line and they get more desperate, and then they start swinging more wild shots and leaving themselves open, and then he makes them miss and he starts picking them off. So once he pressures them against the cage, they start making mistakes and he starts capitalizing on all of those mistakes. So it's a very similar theme. This fight will come down to whoever can back the other guy up into the cage. Firstly, when we're talking about Khabib, he really only has one option for backing his opponents up into the cage. He kind of swarms with punches. He breaks stance, which means he doesn't keep fighting in his orthodox stance. He'll just come forward, swing, leaving himself out of position and vulnerable, but it's genuinely his pressure is why his opponents don't plant their feet and look to strike, because he shoots underneath at any opportunity he can get. So he pretty much just chases his opponent around till they hit the cage and he can back them up into it. So really that's his only option for backing McGregor up into the cage. He doesn't really want to wrestle out in the open or shoot out in the open, just because it uses so much more energy than taking someone down against the cage. That's Khabib's most effective weapon for out-grappling his opponents. Now when it comes down to McGregor, he has a couple of options when it comes to this. He has more options because he has the better footwork of the two. Like I was saying, Khabib kind of just follows his opponent round. He'll just follow them around until they run out of space and he cuts them into the cage. Whereas Conor, he has far better footwork, better control, better pivoting, and a better chance to get angles. So his two options for this fight, generally what he does, he comes out in a real tall stance and he'll just kind of scare his opponent off the center, using his kicks from long range and threatening with that straight left punch until he forces them back, just with a big presence. Forces them back, makes them desperate and makes them pay. Now this might not work against Khabib. He might get in his face, give him the tall stance. Khabib doesn't back off. Khabib starts pressuring forwards. Conor, however, he has a plan B. His plan B may be that he lets Khabib run forward, moves himself towards the cage, then circles out, and he leaves Khabib trapping himself. So Conor has two options. He can first try and back Khabib up. That doesn't work. He can kind of trick him into giving up that cage position. But the fight really comes down to cage control. Who can keep their opponent? Who can pressure their opponent against the cage?